Welcome back to 10 Cents Podcast. I'm your host, Robbie. Very out across from me is my co-host, Dusty Nixon, and I have no idea what I'm doing.
But to say, you got to leave the first don't know what I'm doing.
I know, I should have. Apparently, I don't know how to hit record. I don't know how to do the computer thing. My computer doesn't want to work. Adam said, and I quote, "Fuck the fans. I don't care about Gridlife or the podcast," which I thought was excessively rude, but
yeah, it seems
it's just us now, and he's not here, so
seems a little bit over the top, even for him.
That's what I thought, but here we are. Yeah, well, we're doing a podcast. You know, for being what day is it? Wednesday? It feels like it's been a long week.
It's at least Friday, right?
Yeah, let's go with that.
I've thought to myself at least twice in the last 2 days, man, at least it's Thursday.
No, bro.
And it's really bad when you're thinking that on Tuesday afternoon.
Yo, I haven't had a post-Gridlife hangover in quite some time. So obviously I went to Midwest Fest last weekend, and I haven't, gone to work on Monday and just been like, I don't want to focus on work today. I'm focused on everything else. Because the last couple of years really have been more of a, let's just leave that in the back burner and never think about it ever again. Whereas this time it's like, oh yeah, this was fun. Let's think about it.
Yeah, there's no Monday morning quite like I just had an awesome time at the racetrack for 3 days.
Yep.
And I didn't have a race car kicking me in the ass the entire time.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of weird in itself, just because I can't remember the last time I just went to attend like anything besides like last year I went to Le Mans, of course, but like I just hanging out was fun. And I actually think I socialized more this event than I have maybe ever. Because I got back Monday morning and it's just like friend request. It's like we've crossed paths like 1,000 times in the paddock and stuff too, but it's just kind of like we finally had conversations. So it's just like, I've raced with this person for years. Now we're friends. So it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, your conversations this time weren't like, oh man, what happened?
Yep, basically that. Yeah, so let's jump right into it. I think we'll just I kind of pick up where we left off. I think for the show, what was that, 2 episodes ago, that I basically had a track walking podcast where I talked about my feelings and shared being scared of getting in the car and like maybe not getting back in the car at all. Like just, so then obviously I had Rev Up and that went very well. And then I realized that I'm excited about racing again.
And to celebrate, you went back to the track with no race car.
Went back to the track with no race car to rediscover the camaraderie, I guess is probably the best way to describe it. So I kind of always planned on going back to Midwest Fest this year. No intention of bringing the car ever. I think I knew I wasn't going to make it to CMP. Is that the only race we've had before this? Yeah,
Road Atlanta.
But. Yeah, and I knew Road Atlanta wasn't going to be a thing. And then Rev Up obviously is not a race. Though I figured the first Gridlife that I would actually participate in would be Rev Up. Again, just as an HPD to get behind the wheel. And then I figured the first race back certainly wasn't going to be Midwest Festival. I've kind of taken the Scott Robertson approach that's probably on the list of things of races that I would go to. That's usually pretty low on the priority list. The track's usually not great. The paddock's usually a bit chaotic, and just for me, it's always been just a little bit too much. And then I've had like just about shit luck there. So looking for an excuse to kind of like not minimalize, like narrow down which ones I prefer. That one's usually going to not take the cut. That, and usually it's a 60-car field, and that's probably not the best place to be getting back to try to feel comfortable again.
Yeah, you're increasing the likelihood of things that you don't want to happen becoming more likely. I guess is the kind of the simplest way to put it.
Yeah. I mean, I've always liked Midwest Fest. I've been going, I think I've missed maybe one since 2016. I think that was the year that we were doing WRL. So I think that was the only one that I remember actively skipping. But yeah, it's usually a bit much. And when there's other tracks that I know are going to be slightly less chaotic, that's kind of where I wanted to start. So I figured best case scenario, Mid Ohio would be the one I had penciled as maybe the first event back. So I had like no plan how to get there or what I was doing or who I was hanging out with. I kind of wanted to see how things are going to play out with like our core group. Because, a couple of years ago we had me and you. And
so we had an entire section of the paddock.
Yep, we had that whole corner. We had Dalton's trailer full of cars. We had, I think, a couple of the Des Moines guys that run Midiv with us. They were there. That was Tommy's first year. So that was the first year of the slushies, right? No,
I don't know that was
the slushies weren't there.
It was the largest year to date.
Yeah, it was. I think that was Tommy's first year, but not that. I don't think he had slushies then. But yeah, so like that core group that we've always kind of gone to Gridlife with, nobody was going, so I didn't really have a plan. And then leading up to it, I was just like, well, if it'll just be me, then maybe I can. I'll just get a GA ticket and we'll figure it out. I can scumbag somebody to let me throw a tent in their paddock spot. And then Jess kind of throws a curveball at me. He's like, hey, I want to go. Okay. So then.
All right. Where are you sleeping?
Yeah. So then I was like, okay, let's kind of math this out. So we looked at GA tickets plus camping plus like dog boarding stuff. And it was just kind of like, oh, it was cheaper to go to Rev Up and drive than it is for me and you to go to attend. And I was like, maybe I don't need to go. And that's where we left it, right? I was like, I don't care that much, right? And then Scott Robertson's like, hey, we got crew passes. Okay, now it makes more sense.
Okay.
So then we bought 2 crew passes. She and Alex were dead set on not sleeping at the track. So they found an Airbnb that's like the one exit past the it's like if you go to the Walmart and go onto the interstate and go north, that next exit there's like a sun and sand resort or whatever. And they got a very tiny hotel room for not cheap. But anyways,
I'm sure it was an awesome deal the weekend of Gridlife.
It wasn't terrible, but it was like, yeah, there's nothing cheap about it. So yeah, I went from me not going to me going by myself to now all of us are going with like really no plan. I offered to help Scott with anything he might need because I knew he was coaching. I knew like Clayton Fitzpatrick was going to be there and a couple of like the handful of Columbus people. So I just kind of made myself available to anyone that might need anything. Again, no one ever does. Like we're all kind of the same way. You have your core group, and then if you're not with your core group, you just do it your goddamn self. So I mean, we're all that way, right?
I'll fail alone, damn it.
Yeah. So we went there and showed up Friday noon. No. We didn't get there till like 3 because we couldn't check in. And so we brought the new dog because we were convinced that she couldn't handle being in the house that long without intervention. Because so we don't actually board, we do a rover. And so they come to the house, they let the dog out, they take him for a walk, document how many times they went to the bathroom, and feed them, just they're there for like a half hour, right? And the 2 older dogs, that's more than enough. Kyle has no interest in being outside. He's totally content with you opening the door. He goes out and does his business for a minute, 2 minutes, and that's it. He has no interest in just like wandering the yard or exploring or anything. The couch is his domain. I mean, he's damn near 15 at this point. I mean, he is up there. And then Yancey's getting up there too. So he's he's more likely to want the big walk, but he can't handle a Gridlife. He can't handle being in a hotel or a motel, and he can't handle all the people. But we were convinced that Gabby could, so we brought her. And so we took her for a long walk, put her in the hotel, and she's not the type to bark or like whine or be a problem. So sure enough, she just stayed in the hotel, and we went to Gridlife. And then like the only time we came back, a couple times throughout the weekend to, besides to sleep, but to check on her and take her for a walk and whatnot. And like no issue whatsoever. And it was really cool that by Sunday, it kind of starts to clear out. So we're just like, that'd be a good time to really test to see how the dog does at these things. So we brought her, and I don't know what it is about like pit bulls, but everyone just wants to go and pet them. So like we're standing there watching the races, and like, can I pet your dog? Yeah, but we're working on it. So then if you're dog people, you're fine with her jumping on you and like helping with that. And then like this one little kid must have had like a big dog at home too, so he came running up, and then she kind of like jumps like all excited, and he knew exactly how to like take a step back, wait for her to calm down, and then now it's okay to pet.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, like the only real issue I ever ran into is that she gets too excited about other dogs, which is weird because she doesn't do it to our dogs. But like we'll be walking, and then she sees another dog, and she just does like this really high pitched yipping bark thing that she does. We have to just like drag her away. I'm sorry, she's new. I don't know what to do.
This is her first festival.
It's literally her first rodeo. We don't know. But other than that, I mean, besides the high pitched barking thing she does at other big dogs, actually, and one little dog, she did great. And then just like sitting in the car on the way home, she didn't sleep, she didn't lay down. She sat in the middle on her haunches, looking out the front window the whole time. It's like that picture I sent you.
Yeah, that picture is hilarious.
That's how she sat for like 5 hours. Just the weirdest thing.
Yeah, that's funny to me because like if we take our dog very long at all, I forget that he's back there because we have one of these little like
hammock
container things that he sits in, and he just curls up, and I'm like, oh, there's a dog back here.
Yep. So we used the hammock on the way up, and I don't know if she slid around too much or what, but she hated it. So she had to sit on Jess's lap like the whole way up. And then on the way home, we didn't put it back in. So she just sat on the seat, and she came and sat on Jess's lap for a little bit and then went back. And yeah, she barely laid down ever. She just sat there. Like every once in a while she'd go and sit next to the passenger window and then just get all excited about every car that she's like people in the car. So like she'd get all excited at stoplights, and by like not barking or anything, but just real excited to see other humans.
How are you guys doing? Yeah. Awesome.
Best day ever. Yeah,
Have you been to Gridlife?
Yeah, so for a dog that's been abandoned by humans, she loves humans. It's crazy. It's the weirdest thing. But I'll take it. So Friday we get there. We're just hanging out. We have no expectations for the weekend. I don't know any of the bands on Friday night. I just want to watch some racing, catch up with some of the people I haven't seen in a while. Tommy's there, and he showed up with all of it. He showed up with all of it. So we see him like right away, and he's got the slushy machine going, the hot dog roller going. So he's got 4 slushy machines, and he's clearly he's taken this very seriously since the last time I've been here. So he's like 3D printed like a cap that goes between the slushy machine and the actual topper of the thing. And it's got like a filler, or it's got like a leveler, like a toilet would have, like when it gets full and then it stops or whatever. So he's got that, and then he's got these auto feeders that go to these like ketchup bottles with the juices in it. All 4 slushy machines were on auto feed the whole fucking weekend. He said he went through 150 gallons.
That is mind-boggling.
Because he was so pumped to show me, and like one of them was a slightly different design than the rest, so it didn't quite fit, so it was overflowing at one point. But yeah, but it just auto dispenses.
So having heard the slushy machines auto fill themselves, I could have filled in one of them overflowed at one point during the weekend.
Yep.
That would have been the next, like, if I was filling in the chapter summary of the book, that would have been my, like.
Yep. So I was genuinely impressed because it was a really nice setup. And yeah, he ran out of like that the Mio water flavor things. So he sent somebody to go to Walmart and get Mio. He's like, get me as much as you can of whatever flavor it was. And they came back with 5, like just a little bottle. So he's like, he goes, we were not on the same page on what a lot means.
This is your first time in my paddock space, huh?
Yeah, but it was like, the best part was he had a table with hot dogs and buns and condiments on it, and then they'd only bring out like one bag of buns at a time, and then every time it'd get done, someone would be like, hey, do you have, like, we're out of buns. He's like, try looking in the bin with more buns. And it's just this like gigantic cooler that's got a big thing of tape on it that just says more buns. Have you tried looking at the more buns? And it's full to the top of
Jeez.
I think people were a little bit more generous with the tips this year. It seemed like
how much, like,
I want to say he broke even last year, and I think he broke even this year. I know there was one kid that was like the son of one of the guys that was paddock next to him that was basically his runaround guy that was taking care of like the tips and like just walking people through the process. And it was funny because Jess came up to me while I was talking to him, and he goes, hey, do you want a slushie? And she's like, yeah, I'll probably get one. He's like, the end of the line's over there.
Right this way.
Which is funny because there was literally a line. He's like, no, you gotta get behind all these people. Like, I'm not giving you one before all these people.
You're not getting special treatment like you do the rest of the time, pretty blonde lady.
Yep, sorry. You're the same as everyone else. And then the tips with the tips crossed out and said tits appreciated, that was still the same sign from the first year. So that's nice that lives on. And I think
the paddock transportation situation looks a little bit more serious.
So he has stepped up his game there. Yeah, so he's clearly stepped up the slushy machine thing with the whole auto feeder thing, and I will say they were delicious the entire weekend. He ran out of the NOS ones before I even got there somehow. And I think because because it's so spread out, we'll kind of talk about that in a minute. They didn't just show up like they did in the past. In the past, it was just like a case would just continually show up throughout the weekend. That didn't happen this year. But yeah, he was basically the guy when it came to karaoke and keeping the party going. So he brought his golf cart, and then he apparently on Marketplace found one of those like itty bitty pop-up campers that has been converted into a party barge. So you basically lift the top and then it reveals just seating. And then he had an entire karaoke system on there. So it's got the projector on the back.
Is that okay? Yeah, I was thinking that looked like a projector and a screen on the back. Correct. So can you walk behind it and do karaoke?
Correct. So he's got 2 wireless mics, at least 2 mics, and it's got like those gigantic like party speaker system things, like the ones you would see at like a high school dance, like, you know, you're like the 2 feet wide by 4 feet tall. Like he had 2 of those.
Like the ones that they're always selling by the entrance at Costco.
Yes. And so he's dragging this party barge with the golf cart, which did phenomenal, by the way. It didn't even stutter.
He also has like the largest Predator inverter generator.
He has a 35
on the back of the golf cart.
Yep, he has a 3500 Predator that's running the whole operation, and it's got lights and the whole deal. Apparently, Friday night, because obviously I didn't stick around for this, they were in GA until I want to say 3 a.m.
Ooh.
And they came rolling back to his paddock, which is directly across from the Rush paddock, basically, because like all the Rush cars were basically in a line. They had like I think there's like 2 big haulers that carry at least 6 of those things with them. Like I don't know if they're like officially teams, but like you have kind of like with
probably shops that are doing the prep on them.
Exactly. Like it's like with that Arms Up Auto with WRL that did a lot of the Stratus stuff. They're
selling Arrive and Drive.
Yep. So there's at least a couple of those, and they're basically paddocked directly across from Tommy. So when he comes rolling in at
welcome, boys.
He comes rolling in at 3 a.m., still doing karaoke, still with a crowd. Apparently someone came out of said paddock and tried to get them to quiet it down. And granted, it's 3 a.m, they're at the festival. You kind of got to take it. And luckily it didn't escalate beyond this, but they apparently just walked over and hit the switch on his generator.
Ooh.
And I'm surprised it didn't get out of hand. Like apparently it was fine. Like it wasn't like a big, like people didn't freak out, but I could just see like as soon as that switch gets hit, someone going crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been drinking till 3 a.m. Someone's about to make a mistake.
Yeah. And
I see both sides of the argument here. I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the year I went, like, paddock was pretty chill for the most part. It was like until Saturday night, but all the competition was over on Saturday afternoon.
Yep.
So everybody was just having a good time at that point. So
yep, and that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, the fact that there's still racing and all that kind of stuff on Sunday now, that makes it a little bit, well, and Friday night in general.
Yeah.
Friday night's a little bit different.
Friday night's a little early.
I wasn't even driving, and I was good to be in bed fairly early on Friday night.
Yeah, when I was talking to him Saturday morning, and he's telling me all this, I'm like, maybe that hotel room was worth every penny.
Oh, that was my other thought too. Was like, oh man, that would have been a situation where I would have been like, oh, look around and see what's transpiring, and just kind of,
yup. What's that over there? Yeah, I'll be.
Let's see what's happening over on that part of the paddock. Yep, that looks interesting over there. Yeah.
Yep. Apparently, Saturday morning, they went so long that Tommy came back with the party barge and was putting it all away as Joe was getting up to go to work grid. So he's like, "Good morning," and he's like, "What are you doing up?" "Oh, I'm still up."
Woof.
Yep. But yeah, Tommy did so good. It was so much fun. and that's from someone that ducked out at like way before 3 a.m.
You did the classic Irish goodbye.
Oh yeah. Yep. Friday and Saturday night.
Oh, I'm just gonna go get something else to drink.
Yeah, I'll be right back. It was kind of weird this year, just because Gridlife, and we'll get, so we'll start there. So it was kind of a weird year because it's definitely been a bit of a change. This year being, there's no HPDE. Rush has a big involvement. I mean, I think there's 40 Rush cars that were racing.
It was a huge field.
I think the GLTC field was technically down. Because I think
it was only 40 something.
Yeah, I think it's peaked at 60. I want to say they sold like 55 tickets. It was the original entry list, and I think only 45 made the grid, at least for the big grid. And then I think Time Attack sold out, but you could tell the paddock wasn't quite as busy and full as it has in the past. And I mean, it helps that the Rush cars are the size of a Spec Racer Ford, and you can fit a shitload of them.
You can fit 50 rush cars in the space of 20 time attack cars.
Yeah, I mean that helped a lot. And then of course they were all paddocked together, so you have like a line of 40 of them, and they're not really in anyone's way. I also think it kind of played a big role is that they moved the stage over to turn 5 and 6, 5, whatever, who cares? That Spectator Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they moved so that was over there, as well as like all of the good vendors, like of the food that I like. Because like Friday night it's like they had like where the stage used to be. So you had like shirt vendors and like, heat wave visual, and a handful of like the arcade was over where the stage used to be, and a handful of other vendors. And so like Friday night, we didn't want to venture all the way over to the stage.
Yeah, that's a hike to get food.
Yep. And I was like, we'll just eat something here. And then it was not good. And then the next night, like later that night when we get there and realize like, oh, Island Noodles is here. Oh, the taco people are here. It's just like all the food I wanted is right here. But
I think the taco people gave me the year that I went, they gave me a sticker that was like a little like R32 Skyline or something like that. And that sticker is still on the lens hood on my camera.
Nice.
Cause I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yep. It was, the Island Noodles were excellent and always worth it. Yeah. Definitely sticker shock every time you buy something though. Nothing has prices, and you're just like, oh, well, $50 lunch.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gotten used to that going to Coda for Super Lap every year. It's like it's just fixed. There's 4 food options, and all of the main things are $18.
Yep. You just bite the bullet and eat it.
$6 bottle of Gatorade, and
I had a $9 bottle of pineapple. Whatever the Mexican restaurant thing had like half a gallon of like pineapple.
Oh, Jarritos or something?
Yeah, but it was just like chunks of pineapple and like ice and water. And that was like all it was. But it was still excellent. That being said, every time we would walk over there and someone would complain in our little group about how far it is, I'm like, I feel like that's our fault. And I say that knowing full well it probably is our fault, because the year...
Why is that, Robbie?
So the year that we took the Chop Top with Tommy and we all drove out there and Jabay was with us. And
hey, Jabay! Why the hell isn't the stage out here?
Our entire group did nothing but berate Jabay about all the wasted space out there.
This is how much wasted space. This stage should be out here.
All of the people you could cram into this place if you just moved stuff over here. And then 2 years later, it's a thing. That being said, 100% a much better setup. I do feel like the stage out there was a better setup. I liked how they had the stage there in the corner. The vendors were there, like all of the like festival head shop type places were out there too. So like the like the EDM masks and like the hippie shit that was all there. But I also felt like go ahead.
Looking at it on the map, it looks like that's roughly like 17 times the space that the area that they had the stage put into was.
Yeah,
previously.
I felt like it spaced everything out. The crowd fit in really good within that area, so like it just felt like a really good full crowd, and it was, granted, but like you could get in and out easily. And then I felt like, granted, the paddock was slightly less busy, just with a few less cars than normal, but it did feel less chaotic than I remember. I think when you had the all of the vendors and all of the concert stuff right in the middle, I felt like you had more of the people that really weren't interested in the racing or anything going on track that would venture over anyways and just walk the paddock.
Yeah, and just be completely oblivious to the fact that it's a it's a racing event going on.
Yep. So I felt like you had less disinterested people walking around paddock, and that the people that were walking around paddock were there because they wanted to see the cars and they understood who had the right of way. So it definitely didn't feel as crowded. It didn't feel like, again, I wasn't driving, so if someone was driving, they might disagree with me. Maybe there were still people in the way, but it sure didn't feel like there was near as much people as there has been in years past, just in the way. And then, yeah, you had people lining up to watch racing all the way. Like, Spectator Hill has never had so many spectators on it as it did this weekend. So
yeah, because it kind of, the year that I went, that area, because you kind of had to go like a long ways down toward a tree line and find a gate and go through that gate to get up there. And yeah, with the stage up there, it's obviously going to be much more of an obvious thing. Like, hey, come check this area out.
Yep. Yeah, they had a smaller stage than normal. Like, I've always felt like they had such a big stage, and this stage was probably like 3/4 scale of what they've had in the past. So it's kind of like a V shape, which again, kind of the center was obviously the center of the crowd, and then it kind of had like a V that opened up. So like if you were off to the side, you still had a direct view of one of the screens. If that's, I'm not making any sense, am I?
No, yeah, I saw the videos from it. So yeah, it looked, which I don't remember the one because I was exhausted, and two because of all the strobes, but I don't remember like totally how it felt before. But the V shape to it, to me, looked really wild. Like, especially the way all those guys do their visuals.
Yep.
It's just such an all out, complete, total sensory assault.
Yeah, and that stayed true. And so yeah, you had the VIP off closer to what would be turn 4, kind of in that area. So like the left screen would be facing them, and then the right screen was kind of facing out towards where we would have been standing off on the left corner. And then yeah, like you had like a wall of like lights behind the artist. And then of course they had like 4 like volcano things at the top that were shooting flames. It was a whole vibe.
As Jabay said at like 2 a.m. one night in our group chat, stage shoots fire.
It does. It was great.
And then like 10 minutes later, video won't send. Stage shoots fire.
Yep, it was.
I'll take his word for it, I guess. I don't know.
Yep, it shot fire. They must have had something set up because cell service was almost usable this time.
Yeah, I was impressed and jealous of the fact that we were in contact with you guys basically the entire weekend because, yeah, it's 2 years ago it died on Friday afternoon and it did not come back until we got out of Michigan.
Yep. Yeah.
Thankfully my wife didn't call a search party to see where I was at.
Yeah. Yeah. I say my phone, granted, it's probably has something to do with how old my phone is. So like mine had a tendency to drop in and out pretty easily. Jess has first responder stuff on hers, or whatever they do to let nurses have like access where people.
Yeah, the AT&T FirstNet or something.
Yeah, I think she has it, and somehow I don't. I think they do separate it on phones, not just plans, which is really annoying.
They're like, hey, you know how your wife's important?
Yeah,
you're not very important.
No. So she had no problem, and then yeah. Granted, I besides messaging you guys, I really didn't need it. But yeah, I do think that having the stage there was a step in the right direction for sure. Even if people complained about walking, I do think it was the right setup, and I think that as they refine it even more from there, I do feel like it's probably where they end up staying. I'd be surprised if they change it from that moving forward.
Yeah, I think at the time whenever we were asking them why they didn't do it that way, there was something to do with how close the neighborhoods are over on that side.
Oh, sure.
Because
I'll say
kind of the other side, there's not really anything that seems to be that close. And looking at it on the map, like if the stage was pointing the direction I think it is, it's pointed like right at 1st Street and 2nd Street.
So it's pointed basically right back to, so it's you're in the corner kind of by turn 6, and it's facing turn 2 for the most part. So it's aiming across, like,
yeah, kind of back across the track instead of out
across the track, across all of camping, and basically, 1,000 feet further away from where the original stage was. So I felt like it.
Yeah, that probably actually helps the noise a little bit.
Yep. If they were okay facing that direction from the original spot, I feel like this spot actually helps. I don't think it would have pointed the noise in a way that would have made it any worse for anyone outside of the track.
No worse than a pop-up camper with karaoke speakers on it.
That was probably worse, yeah.
But hey, come get a free hot dog.
Yep. The hot dogs weren't as warm as I wanted them to be when I ate mine, but you know what? Life sometimes isn't fair. I'm trying to think.
So how was the inaugural GLGT weekend?
See, I was trying to think of what I wanted to talk about before I actually talked about the racing. So, like, one thing so, like, we'll talk about Tommy. I feel like we'll gradually get to the actual on track stuff. So we'll go there. So, so Saturday night, this is where everyone turns up in the same level that they always do, completely ignoring the fact that they all fucking have to race the next day.
Old habits.
Yeah, it's, again, I have no data to back this up, but I do feel like people get a little bit too turned up on Midwest Festival weekend that leads to incidents. Is there any truth to that? I have no idea. It's how I feel.
Well, this is the first time that they've raced on Sunday after getting turned on Saturday. So I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not making any claims about anybody whatsoever. To be fair, it's also not the biggest track in the world, and they put a lot of cars on it for a wheel-to-wheel race.
That plays the biggest role. I think as soon as you start as soon as you get over 40 cars on that track, your odds of an incident go up, I would say almost exponentially. So, but that's always been kind of my concern, is that at an event like Midwest Fest, people do have a tendency to get a little wild. And while an old timer in the SDCA once told me, is like, no, you should use that to your advantage because they'll be hungover, and then you'll be on your game and they'll be hungover. It's like, no.
That makes them less predictable going into the braking zone.
That means their judgments are shit, and they're going to make a mistake, and that's an expensive mistake. And I don't actually think that's what happened. It's just always been one of those in the back of my mind feelings about weekends that are 100% party, 100% racing, and you can't have 200%.
It's like if I go to a weekend and I try to drive and shoot the camera, one of them is going to suck. Yep. Most likely, both of them are going to suck.
Yep. But yeah. So Saturday, we go out to the concert, and Sullivan King was the only artist that I actually gave a shit about. I wanted to see. So we got there right as he was about to get started, and to set the tone, so they had kind of like a mic check, like his roadie was in there doing mic checks, and then while they were waiting, like it was like check, and they had like some music in the background, and then while they transitioned from his roadie to actually getting his stuff ready to play, they played Limp Bizkit's Break stuff, and I'm just like,
did a riot ensue?
I'm sitting there looking around. I was like, this is all we've always wanted. This we've wanted Limp Bizkit. And then, of course, all the old white guys like me were like, yeah. And then
you just started tearing stuff down and setting it on fire.
I was looking for plywood to light on fire. I was ready to have a Woodstock 99 moment, but no one else was on my level. But yeah, so then he did his show, and yeah, big fan. I really enjoy his music. it's high energy from start to finish. Jess was like getting into it, and I know that's really not her music, but anytime they do like a mashup of like a song that she knows, or like there was like a Britney Spears song they did a mashup of that she was like immediately into it. Yeah. And then of course like Coolio's Gangster's Paradise, when that gets that's always the vibe.
I'm a child of the 90s. I would go crazy for that. Yeah.
Yep. So that was fun. And then luckily we were leaving at the exact same time Tommy was. We just met him at the metal detectors. Oh yeah, there were metal detectors because it has to be because that's the world of fucking.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt my feelings.
No, I was not mad about it one bit. Yeah, they like legit. Like they were searching cars on the way in. I did not envy anyone that had to sit in the GA line because it was like 100 cars deep and like, get the fuck out. We're looking through your car. And good. I don't want any fucking guns in here.
No. Yeah, that's one thing over the last like 10 or 12 years, whatever it's been since the one big thing in Las Vegas. Yeah. Anytime I find myself looking over a sea of people, I just kind of go, Yep. And maybe that's letting the terrorists win. I don't know, but that's just where my brain goes. So.
It's impossible not to have your brain go there. And having enough friends in positions that do these type of events, whether it's Gridlife or other events that have big crowds, it's shocking how many people try to fucking bring guns places.
Yeah.
Like, it makes no fucking sense to me. Like, why? Like, it's not going to be allowed.
Yeah, whether they have an intention to do anything with it or whether they're just being forgetful or stupid or whatever.
Yeah,
but yeah.
It's insane to me that it even like that you'd have it, but whatever. No incidents whatsoever. I was happy that security was doing a great job. Was not mad about the fact that our car got searched. Absolutely not. Was not mad about the fact that I went through a metal detector every time I went into the big crowd. Not mad about it. But yeah, we were leaving, and Tommy was leaving right at the exact same time, and we were like, we're just going to jump on your party barge. And so we did karaoke all the way back through GA, and then it was like the Pied Piper with his rats, and we were just like bringing people back with us to the paddock. And
come with us if you want to live.
It was basically that, and then like we pull up next to the dyno, which is right next to the timing tower, and he just parks it. And by God, that's when the karaoke started, and that was it. Like, we are here. It's time for karaoke, and everyone just kind of like showed up.
It's like in Fight Club. It was on the tips of everyone's tongues. We just had to.
Yep. And I don't know if that was like the original plan, because they had announced that there was gonna be. Oh, I thought I had a picture. Maybe I didn't. That there was gonna be karaoke at the timing tower with the dyno guys. I didn't realize it was Tommy's setup that was doing the whole thing.
We've made it to the big time.
Yep. Yeah, I mean it was super fun. We just hung out for a while, and that was kind of when that was Saturday night. I think it got to about 1 a.m. and we were just kind of like, we're just gonna Irish goodbye this one, and then just kind of waited for a lull in the karaoke when we weren't really catching up with anybody anymore, and just were like, that was a good time.
Yeah, I remember sitting next to the karaoke with a giant bag of chips and just being like, looking at random people and be like, want some chips?
That's how I make friends.
Getting funny looks back. I'm like, you can just grab some. I know it's a big bag of chips, but yeah.
No, I'm in on the chips, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was super fun. But like, I'm old, so once you hit about 1 a.m., it's kind of like, I'm tired. I got a dog waiting for me, so I'm out of here.
I gotta go home and check on the kids.
That poor dog's been cooped up all day, you know.
Huh. Just laying in the middle of the floor.
Oh yeah, she was fine. She didn't give a shit. But again, she loves humans so much that she obviously would much rather have us be there. So. Trying to think where we want to go from here. Oh, one other thing that I thought was super cool that I sat and just watched for like a long time that, so like they had a bunch of like artists and like hippie festival type shops, but there was one dude that was there that was doing like glass blowing right there. And I've never seen someone so fucking talented at glass blowing. So he's got like a butane Bunsen burner thing right in front of his face. And he's using like a glass rod, and then he's using other melted glass, and he's kind of like poking it into it. And he's creating these like crazy designs. And like, so he had like a T-Rex skull, and he had like all sorts of like mushrooms and like just all sorts of crazy, like very detailed glass art. And
no way he would make mushroom shapes for you, huh?
Yeah, I know, it's pretty crazy. It's a pretty big stretch, but it reminded me of like in Europe, like especially in Venice, it was like every shop had this blown glass. It was like a souvenir thing everyone buys, right? And I just like this. It's kind of like in Europe, this shit's everywhere, and it's like, yeah, but that stuff looked mass produced compared to this. This stuff was crazy detailed, and like I didn't like. I think they were very expensive, and rightfully so, but I sat there and just watched him do his thing for probably 15, 20 minutes and was just like blown away at just the talent of this glass artist.
It's a random dude that just came out to a racetrack in Michigan in the middle of June.
Yep. I assume he goes to festivals and he sells these, and that's his thing. Yeah. But man,
I feel like Chris probably picks up a lot of these guys from like the Grateful Dead circuit kind of thing.
Yep,
maybe
that would fit perfectly. Yeah, because a lot of tie-dye in the art.
Yeah. Yeah, it always blows me away whenever I see like the guys like on Fremont Street in Vegas that just do like, they've got 47 cans of spray paint there, and they're doing these like crazy detailed like black hole galaxy forming type stuff. It's like, how is that just in your head all the time, and that just, this is the way you get it out of there? How do you do that?
Yeah. No, when someone is that talented at whatever craft it is, I could just get lost in it, like just totally mesmerized. Yeah. I mean, Booney and I had this conversation when we were at that really fancy restaurant after we got the NPO1 that one time. Like it was one of those like open style where you're literally sitting at the bar, but the bar is like facing the kitchen. So you're watching this like well-oiled kitchen staff just like work in perfect unison. And like, so we were like sitting there wax lyrical about just how well managed and how talented the entire staff was. And it's just like, it was like that. Like,
well, and all of those people are just in that zone where everything is subconscious. You're just moving, and everything just happens by reflex.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, so that was one of those just like really cool things that I wasn't expecting to see, and I was really glad that I did. And I'm glad that I just kind of like stopped and took a minute to admire it. Kind of wish I would have bought one of them, but oh well.
That's race car money, man.
That's that definitely plays a role.
That's Project 300ZX money.
Yeah. Well, that could be Project 300ZX turns into a whatever 350Z something or other if that guy decides to offer me everything for it.
Oh.
Because there was a guy that came and bought some parts off of it, and he goes, "Would you sell the whole thing?" I was like, "Well, everything's for sale for the right price." I wasn't planning on selling it, but if you're going to make me an offer, it'd be foolish to ignore it, especially now that it's free. So we'll see. He'll be here tomorrow to pick up some more parts off of it, actually.
If he shows up with a trailer, you know he's serious.
Yep. But yeah, so leading up to the weekend, one, I guess, storyline, for lack of a better term, that I was really following along was our friend Michael Hilo, Stubbs, if you know him on Instagram. So yeah, so he was pulling an Austin hurdle, again, another one of our Z-Boy friends that we follow on Instagram, and then, of course, that I know in person. So he was doing 2 months worth of work in like 3 weeks, that kind of situation.
Yeah, 2 months, depending on how dedicated you are to it. Some people like years.
Yep. Yep. So he was wrapping up his LS swapped 350Z setup. I don't know what ECU he was running. I think it was a Haltech, but I don't think it was a Nexus. So I saw one of his Instagram stories where he was doing wiring, and I was like, oh fuck, is he wiring that from scratch in the 2 week time frame he just gave himself? And I don't think he was. I think he was just spidering off of the plug and play that he had. I could be wrong, but I don't believe he actually wired from scratch. But either way, huge.
I'm not sure what management he was running before.
Yeah, I want to say I thought maybe it was. I think it's a Rebel, which means it would have had a plug and play harness, because that's obviously the LS Next. The Haltech Nexus Rebel.
Yeah, it's like the Haltech version of like the Terminator X Holly.
Yep. So that has a harness for the engine. And I think obviously if you do something that's not just a generic LS, I think you would have to obviously spider in a couple of things. But I don't think he had to do all of the wiring, but he definitely did some. But yeah, so he had that entire swap that he had to finish, which again, like 2 weeks previously, had been sitting in a pile of parts next to the car. And then get it wired up, get it tuned, get it aligned, get it 2 pages long list of things that needed to get done. And I know he was working like 15-hour days on it on top of his normal life.
He was doing Instagram stories at like 3 a.m. like, well, I've reached the point that I need these 2 bolts and nothing's open because it's 3 a.m. So I guess I'll call it a night.
And then he's up at like 6 a.m. getting back to it and then getting everything he needs. And like even as he's got it loaded on the trailer, he needs an alternator. So he's like messaging the GLTC chat, like if anyone could get an alternator or has an alternator that could meet him at Gingerman. I was like, I can get you one at Jags. It's just down the road. And I can have it to you on Friday, but that doesn't do you any good. I was like, so like I can be your last resort. I can absolutely make that happen. Luckily, someone else that was going to be there on Thursday was able to get him it. I'm trying to think what other, like, I just felt like he had so much to do.
Oh, and they lost an alternator on their truck on the way there during the like
2 full days of travel.
Yeah, 2 full day haul from California to Michigan.
Yep. Yes, I think they left like Tuesday. Yes, they had to, yeah, because he was asking us where we could get an alternator for whatever, and I was like, well, if you're going through Lincoln, Nebraska, you could get both. Go to Speedway. And I think he was it Kansas City or Omaha was where the alternator went out on the truck. And luckily I think it only slowed him down like 2 or 3 hours, but he missed practice, or at least one practice.
Yeah.
So yeah, showed up late on Thursday, and then I think he got 3 laps in before before it not started knocking, which is it's like a brand new build. So it's just like, I don't know. He had like a really nice, maybe not nice is a word, but he had like a very like heartfelt, just like, sometimes this sport can just give you a lot, and sometimes it just feels like all it does is take, and it's just. There's a real kick in the dick. So I was pretty disappointed to show up on Friday afternoon to see it just comfortably sitting in the IBOC booth. Like, oh, fuck, because I hadn't he hadn't posted yet on Friday about like what had happened. But
yeah, I opened up Instagram at some point on that afternoon and saw a story from him and clicked on it and was like, just like slumped shoulder, like,
yeah, just like,
dude, I'm so like, I'm absolutely gutted, and I did not touch that car. Yep. I did not do I had nothing to do with it other than just pulling for him.
Yep, same.
And like my closest thing to that is whenever we went to NOLA for Gridlife, and the car just developed the weirdest ignition problem from hell, and it just would not do anything all weekend, and it was just like such a gut punch. And all we had to do, like in the end of it, all we had to do was change the damn distributor gear.
Sure. But
that was such a kick in the balls. Yep. Like just getting up for this event and like, knowing like all my people are going to be there, and it's like, it's a track that I like, and I'm like, I want to go and do well and like have this kind of interesting car for this group of cars, and just get there and have the car just kick you in the balls.
Yep. The Susie with the football thing, man. It's
Yep.
The sport. It's like that sometimes. It really is, and you have to roll with it. And I mean, see episode 255 or 6 or whatever the episode was that I did the exact same thing talking about my shit. I mean, it's apples and oranges, but I can relate. I get it. Shit happens. But yeah, so I was definitely pulling for him. Really disappointed to see it just sitting in the booth. I mean, luckily it's in one piece. So he's just got to swap an engine. But yeah,
and of course, he also has to get an engine to like Wisconsin or Chicago or something to be able to do that. So.
Yeah, to add a little bit of complexity to it, that car did not go back to California. It stayed in, I think it's in Ohio, because it's going to Mid-O at the end of the month. So he needs to get an engine somehow to the car and swapped before Mid-O. And yeah, who knows how that's going to happen. He made it sound like he was going to fly out here and knock it out right before, but man, crazy. So yeah, I'm hoping that it's just to take this engine out, put this engine in, and good to go. And then can be racing at the end of the month, which luckily is 3 weeks away, not 2 weeks away like I originally had thought.
Oh yeah, loads of time.
Yeah, plenty of time. No, I was doing the math in my head. I was like, "Fuck, I got this weekend, and then it's the race, and like, that's not a lot of time." And then, no, it's only the 10th today. It's fine.
Loads of time.
Plenty of time. You got a whole extra 7 days that I didn't give myself credit for. No, but yeah, hoping that he can get that all back together, be back at the end of the month, and hopefully that he does well. Because yeah, I mean, looked cool on track, sounded good from the videos that I saw. I mean, looked great in person. It's a beautiful car.
Yeah, I
got you a gift. I got you the sticker.
Oh, I might still. I'm probably still going to buy a couple from him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just in solidarity.
Yep, I grabbed us both stickers that were sitting at the booth. I did not have a chance to actually like catch him and talk to him, but I did get a couple stickers.
Yeah, whenever I guess late last year he announced that he was changed, that he'd gotten hooked up with Ibach and they were doing a different livery on it, and I was just like, oh, but I loved, because previously he had the like Super GT like factory Z livery on it, and it looked so cool, and it was just like it looked like it had that Super GT vibe, but as like a California like time attack car.
It looked great,
and I didn't know what to think of it in the beginning of it, and now that I've looked at it now that I've seen pictures of it on track and stuff like that, like yeah, it's cool, and it's kind of uniquely his now versus just being a Nissan factory livery being put on a different car. So
yep. I mean that's exactly how I felt about it too. When he first debuted it, and it was just the red with the orange and black, and he didn't have any of the logos and shit on it. I was like, I liked it the other way because I don't like change.
Change is scary, yeah.
But because and I'm not a fan of orange and red together. Like I feel like they clash. But then now that he's got like the chrome decals, the chrome wheels, all of the logos, and like the actual like the Gridlife like number plates and stuff like that, it all comes together just so good. It's so good.
I just noticed how low he's running his wing too.
Yeah, he's got kind of a low and like sticking out
far back
behind the bumper setup, whereas mine's kind of like his goes back 45 degrees, mine kind of goes vertical. Like the uprights, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, GLTC was fairly clean the first 3 races. I mean, like which was kind of like the problem, because like for me personally, it's like I'm watching the races like 1, 2, and 3. I'm like, man,
I told you
it's been real fucking clean. I should have been out there.
I told you it's going to be the cleanest race all year.
We did have that conversation. Like, you're not there, it'll be the cleanest racing that's ever happened. And they did a great job. It was very clean. Racing was really good. Racing at the front was excellent. Obviously, with the with Magnussen doing extremely well, and then Catil and Matan chasing right after him, and then Eric Meadows getting his first win. So I mean, it was very good racing to watch, which of course gives you that like, God damn it, I should be out there. But then I had to remind myself, no, you hate racing at Midwest Festival. It's fine. Just go, just take a step back. It's fine.
You were right all along.
Just take a break. You were right. Take a step back, and you'll get back out there at a different track that you wanted to go to anyways.
Yeah, Mid Ohio. Yeah, Road America.
No, I won't go back to Road America.
Trust me, you don't need to explain having a weird feeling about a track that you had an incident at.
No, it's
because
not.
I have two of those.
So Gingerman took me a minute because I'd done a bunch of sim work like leading up to Rev Up, and like so I knew a lot of the mistakes I was making and the mistakes I was making because I was timid. So like the amount of like foot to the floor time between 7 and 10 that I wasn't doing, like just the just you're a pussy. Here's okay, off throttle, and it's just like the amount of time I did that is pretty significant at Gingerman. So I knew that turn 10 kind of had me jinxed a little bit throughout that weekend, and I was like towards the end I was getting more comfortable. But Road America doesn't necessarily have that effect on me. I just know that because I have such short gears, I need a different final drive before I go back, because putting it into 6th gear and just watching your speed just kind of is kind of stupid. So like the first years I had a 3.3 final drive. So that was like, that's the factory, whatever. It's no big deal. So like a high speed track is fine, but I just have really bad acceleration. So I went all the way to a 4.09, which is great for like lower speed tracks. Like Gingerman's kind of like about the top of it. I think Heartland, top of 5th.
The top of 5th gear is probably like 125 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's 130. And like it's like Heartland Park was really good. Road America is not good for that. So like I would need like a 3.9 to get it where I want it. Whereas like I'm top of 5th at the top speed I would have at Road America. So, and I've always kind of thrown out the idea of getting a second pumpkin with a different limited slip, because I've always wanted a Geiken. So my thought was I'd get a 3.9 with a Geiken, or get the 3.9, put that with a Tomy, and take the 4.09 and put that with the Geiken. Yep. And then just that would be my setups. So like if like you go to Road America, I throw the 3.9 in. I go to like a Hallett or Gingerman or whatever, a shorter or a slower speed track, I would put in the 409.
You basically have club track set up and big boy track set up.
Yeah, and I know like I made the I made the bold claim that 2024 was going to be the year of the quick change for GLTC. And like I knew a couple of people had been toying with like different gear sets based on the track, and I think I was probably maybe not too far off on that suggestion, because it like
someone did that this year, right?
What am I doing? I keep trying to. What's his? Eric Jensen.
Oh yeah,
Jensen's got a quick change, and then I knew like Magnussen had gearing that was perfect for Gingerman. I legitimately don't think he shifted at Gingerman at Midwest Fest. I think he was in 3rd the whole time. But it was like Dalton at Hallett with his Corvette. He was in third the whole time. Like he never shifted. So I mean, there is an advantage, especially if you don't have to shift, to get your gearing just right. So granted, I didn't expect to have a quick change, and I didn't expect to have like a plethora of gears, but I know that if I want to go to like a Road America, I probably should at least have a 3.9 in the back. So
the first time we went to Coda with the Camaro, we had a transmission that had a 1-to-1 4th and then a 0.67 overdrive in 5th.
Yep, that sounds about right.
So it was through 4th, and then and like we didn't have I was running just a GPS logger, and you could see like the speed trace in 4th is like, it's not great,
but it's
then
not near as
5th
flat.
is like as close as you can get to, like, I would shift into fourth at like 126 and the car was maxing at 135. And that was like half the back straight.
Yep.
So all we did was go from the TKO 600 with like a 370 rear gear to a T56 with like a 370 or 325. And the car went like literally 15 miles an hour, nearly 20 miles an hour faster.
Wow. Yeah. I think, honestly, I think that's kind of the next big step, especially in GLTC, like with the rule set, the way it's set up. I mean, you know where to go with suspension. Like, I mean, not necessarily know, but like your options are available to like do what you need to do with suspension. But I feel like that's one of the things that people really have kind of quietly experimented with, and I think is going to be less quiet. I think people are going to be very more focused on getting that gearing right, because I mean, we're maniacs and that's what we're doing. So, if there's any stone left unturned, you're going to go find it and turn it. So, yeah, so definitely.
Those top five guys have definitely gotten to that level for sure.
Yep.
I would think.
Yep. No surprise whatsoever. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, all weekend the racing was really good, really, really exciting to watch. The GLGT class, granted it was a small field, but like, it's the first event, and I think they had 14 people sign up, and then there
was 14 or 15 entries listed going into the event, but several of them were marked as like TBD on what vehicle they were bringing. I know at least like Alex Pites was registered with a C8, but that car is still getting finished up on the fab work, and still got to reassemble it. So a handful didn't make it. Like Boyson wasn't originally planning to do it, and then Jabe was like, "Why don't you just like your car's not ready? Why don't you just take that TC car and then bring it out?" And then so he ordered like a bunch of parts and then just made it GT legal in like a week. But I think he had transmission problems or something, because I think he posted in the GLTC chat asking if anyone had a line on whatever crazy exotic transmissions in that car. So he only had one race, and I think they only ended up having like 7 or 8 cars consistently make the grid, which again, it's the first race ever for the series. You're not going to have a 40 car field to start. I think GLTC had something similar when they first started. So, I mean, it's going to grow. Like there should be no concern there. And I think a lot of it too, since they're kind of depending on pulling in the like TC, like the touring car class and the GT4 class stuff. Like there's a lot of people running those cars out there, but they're setting their like it's a substantial commitment to run where those cars normally run. So I think they're set for this season already by the time that calendar came out. So
yeah,
I would feel like if they, if it's good racing and they draw, a little bit more each race, I would feel like it would be poised to grow substantially next year. So.
Yeah, I completely agree, and you could definitely tell like the way the rules are set up, and maybe it's not even the way the rules are set up, just like the level of prep, because again it's so new. You had the GT4 Supra and then James Houghton TC car that just they're factory built race cars. They're ready to go. I mean, you're most of the way there already, and those cars were clearly doing something different than the rest of the field at this point. So I think as the homebrew cars get developed, I think that gap's going to be a little bit smaller, and then as the class grows, that I think that field will kind of like morph into more of a beginning to end being very close compared to like the spread that they had. Like you can't expect to have GLTC tight racing on your first event. So and GLTC wasn't that way to begin with either. So it's no surprise. And the racing was, for only a couple cars being next to each other, it was still really fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, you've also got, I don't know how much James has driven that Civic, but I know Alan is super fast anyway, and they've run that car in WRL a lot, I think. So
yes.
I think it's probably like, I'm guessing the tire package is basically the same from what they would run in WRL.
It's
maybe a little bit more aggressive tire.
It's got to be similar.
Yeah. So, because I know my buddy Ryan that I crewed with last year, they had tried testing their Supra GT4 on 200 treadwear tires and said like it was so far and away different from the Pirellis that they run that it was like building a whole new setup. So
Oh, sure.
I know people that are running just straight like SRO stuff on slicks, like they're going to have a learning curve coming in on trying to make the RE71 or whatever work to work in a sprint race situation, especially. So
Right. Yeah, and I honestly don't know the rules well enough to even know what tires they're on. So
yeah,
I honestly can't speak to it.
I'm making the assumption that it's 200 treadwear, but
I want to say it's 200 treadwear.
And hey, we're on a podcast, so we can't be wrong.
Exactly. It is for sure a 200 treadwear class, just like GLTC.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I think I want to say it is.
Yeah, it's 200 treadwear.
Sure. Yes. But
It is that. I found that. Can find the tire list. It doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter.
Nobody's going to call us out.
It's fine.
Call us out on our Facebook group.
There you go. But yeah, so like that was
since we never talk about our social media.
That's true. We really don't. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it was a really, really fun weekend. It kind of got me excited about Gridlife and racing again. And watching the rush cars was super fun too. I mean, Jess is all about that. She's like, "How much are those?" I'm like, "Nope, we're not doing that. Yeah, we're not having that conversation." Yeah, so she was really pumped to watch the rush car races, and they were. I mean, honestly, they weren't as clean as GLTC, but they were super fun to watch.
Yeah, those cars, like the size of them and the speed that they run and the grid, like the just like grip that they have and everything, like their racing reminds me more of watching motorcycle racing than it does car racing. Like they dip and dive on each other so much, and there's so much room on the track because they're only like
half the size of a car.
Like 55% as wide as a normal car.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a super interesting race to watch anytime I've watched it.
Yep. Yeah, super enjoyable. So I am glad that they are running it, and it's cool to kind of see that grow as well. Because yeah, I mean, a freaking 40 car field is wild for those. And then so then drove home and then immediately bought a GLTC ticket.
Yeah,
because it was like I had no intention of like doing anything, and I was just kind of like, I was like, my next event's going to be, it was probably going to be Mid-Iv. Ozarks was kind of the plan. Jess's family's down there, so it was kind of like an easy sell. Like, hey, I'm going to go do this. You can do your stuff with your family, and I kind of want to drive that track. And then if it's a TT, I'm not going to feel pressure to like do anything beyond just, again, get comfortable with the car. Again, granted, it's not the most comfortable track I've never been to that I know is super challenging, but and then of course, like the conversation over the weekend was like, "Oh, so you're gonna be? What's your next race?" I'm like, "I don't know. Oh, you should do Mid Ohio." No, it's sold out. There's no tickets available. Well, you should do it. We should make some calls. And then as the conversations with other drivers and like Jess, it was just kind of like, "Yeah, you're right. I should do this." And then Justin posted on the GLTC for sale page. He's like, "Price drop, GLTC Mid Ohio." Fuck. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that right now. So, luckily the car is basically ready to go. I just need to do an alignment, swap over tires, and just like a couple odd and end things. I need to swap on like my actual G-Lock brakes because I know I'm just running my Stratus hand-me-down freeze that I don't, the not aggressive carbo techs that I'm running obviously aren't going to be what I want to be running, but.
So I found it. The GLGT is 200 treadwear. It's Falcons, BFGs, Kumos, Continentals, and then like the Michelin like supercar, kind of the more street tire style.
So they're like the same as TC.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or you can run Toyo R888s.
That's the cheater tire right there. Yep, that's it. I didn't know they made those still. 'Cause who the hell buys those?
People going to Cars and Coffee have to buy some kind of tire.
That's wild.
Yeah. The Cars and Coffee I went to with the truck, I saw at least 2 cars that were on R888s. And it tells me something without telling me something.
Tells me everything I need to know. Oh man, that's hilarious.
I'm that person that's talking to you about your car, and I'm kind of like looking over the sidewall, and I'm like, yep, okay. Not that I'm a snob with my 4-year-old V730s or anything like
fine.
that.
It's fine. But yeah, so got that all ready to go. Tires should be here hopefully right after this episode comes out. Get that all taken care of, which again is good because in my head I was convinced this was like 2 weeks away, not 3 weeks away. So I was like, okay, so I have all this to do in 2 weeks. And it's like, I looked at the calendar. I was like, oh, I got 7 free days here.
Maybe we should just undertake some more projects.
Oh God, no more of that. Just
I keep looking at the calendar and thinking that the Road America dates are in June instead of July.
Oh, sure.
And it's really throwing me for a loop if I'm going to try to do anything around that. So
yeah. Yep. No intention of driving that one, but I also really didn't have a whole lot of intention of driving Mid-Ohio, but here we are. But I actually am really looking forward to it. So yeah, I'll be at Mid-O. You'll be at Road America, which means I'll probably have to be at Road America in theory, just to hang.
Well, if you're going to go, that changes my plans slightly.
I won't be driving if that makes any change. Oh, you mean Mid-O?
Yeah. No, the Road America. No, I've driven Road America twice, and being the giant photography nerd that I am, both of the times we went, I was like, man, there is so much cool. Like, really, I would kill to go in like September, October, whenever all the trees are changing. Like, you mean
like right around the time Lime Rock is happening up in Connecticut?
Wait,
that's
August.
That's August. Yeah.
But yeah, the first time we ran Road America was in October.
Yeah.
And we were probably lucky that there wasn't snow on the ground. Instead, it just rained like half the weekend. But
that sounds about right for October.
Pictures of my car in front of like orange and yellow leaves on trees. Oh man, what a place!
Yep.
But yeah, so hopefully I'll find my way up there with a camera.
I'd like that for you.
Yep. I need that weekend that you had at Gridlife. I need to have that weekend also.
I've had 2 Gridlife weekends that I absolutely needed. I needed a super chill, just like reintroduce myself to like the friendships within it. You know what I mean? Like just completely
walking around and
just completely forget about the actual on track stuff and just kind of like focus on the fun and the relationships, stuff like that. And then also needed the non-competition, just get comfortable in a car again weekend. And I had both of those. So that helped a lot. So
that's Dubay giving you the first hit free.
Yeah, he knows.
Not that it was free.
It definitely wasn't free, but he knows the product he has. So I saw him like multiple times throughout the weekend, but we never spoke because he's in the middle of the shit the whole time. And so like our paths just kind of cross and it's just like, oh, hey, and just, see you later.
He did that with approximately 17,000 people over the course of 4 days.
Yep. Yep. I knew better than to like the only time I knew where he was when he was standing at the top of grid. Well, we can't just go and bullshit. He's in the middle of stuff. And then during the concerts and stuff too, even when he's taking a break, he's still on the radio. He's still dealing with shit. So I mean, it's not like he's getting to like catch up. And if he isn't out like during when we're doing like karaoke and stuff, like if he's not in that group, like I'm just not going to see him. I mean, that is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine. So like my very limited experience in being involved in putting together an event, and like this was like an anniversary thing that we did at my parents' shop, and it was just a day, and we just looked up at like 4:00 and was like, well, it's over.
Yep.
Like, I don't even know what happened. I can't imagine the scale of that for all of those guys that put this together. Like,
yeah, because
they just have to look around on Sunday and just be like, where have we been?
Yep.
What just happened?
Yeah, because I mean, like they are basically, full bore from probably Wednesday, even earlier, because I think they're there all week getting set up. But like, let's just say Wednesday through Sunday, it's foot to the floor. Everything's the most important thing in the world. It's just you roll with the punches for 5 straight days, and before you know it, it's over.
And then it's
on to the next
picking
one.
Up. Yeah. The next thing you know, there's just a bunch of trucks there to pick up all the porta potties.
Yep. And you roll that circus right into the next town.
Yep.
3 weeks later. But, no, really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to getting back on track and racing with the buds. So,
yeah, it seems like Mid-O should be pretty low key though.
Yeah, I think the fact that it's not a festival. I know it's like some of the guys in the GLTC chat were kind of like that's the event to drive at. I think Lime Rock I think would be good. That's another track that I haven't been to yet, and then Autobahn. I've only done one test day there, so I think that'd be another. Those are kind of like my 3 tracks that I kind of had circled for the year that I'd like to. So we'll see. I guess best case scenario, I want to just get out there more. So like if I could do the mid-of event at Ozarks as well and do a couple GLTC weekends and just kind of like drive, just fucking drive. That'd be great.
So I know whenever the year that I went following along with Time Attack during the shootout, or not the, like, I don't remember what it's.
The podium sprint?
The podium sprint, not shootout, podium sprint. Following along at the track with no cell service was kind of difficult. Was there a better way to pull that off this time with like the big video screen or anything like that?
No, and that was my one complaint is because in that first turn one, there's like they had like the VIP lounge that had a TV screen that you could kind of scumbag your way towards the edge of that thing and see. And in the years past, they've always had like at the inside of turn one for the crowd, they always had the live stream on like a big screen for everyone to see, board, and then the audio played. So they had the audio playing, but they didn't have the screen, and they didn't have that screen anywhere. So like unless you were watching it through like the edge of the tent in that VIP area, or someone had it streaming at their campsite, you didn't see it. So getting that back somewhere somehow would be wonderful. Like if they could set it up, I don't know, like in the vendor village, so like it's where the old stage used to be, and then you could just have people congregate there and watch the race that don't want to be, exactly trackside, but you can see both. I think that'd be cool. But yeah, that was one thing I kind of missed because some of the stuff that I don't do a great job tracking to begin with, and then so like legitimately Dewey went out and broke his street mod record. One, I never saw or heard that car the entire weekend, which is crazy. And I completely missed
You could hear Dewey though, right?
He was over. Like,
you heard Dewey at least at one point.
Well, I actually did because I was right next to his paddock spot a couple times. But like I legitimately never saw his car run, which I even made a note to myself on Sunday, like, how have I not, like, does he have mechanical problems? How did I not see that car all weekend? But like, I just missed it. I like, granted, we did leave the track quite a bit, during like the non GLTC GT times, because to go get like, it's like, oh, we have drift followed by time attack. So there's like a 4-hour gap. It's like, oh, now's a good time to go take care of the dog.
Let
right?
the dog out, yeah.
So it's just like, we absent-mindedly were like, well, I guess we're just going to fucking skip all the time attack. So like, I miss like all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I still, it feels on the stream like there's something missing to still build the excitement for it. And I can't place it in which I've also had a hard time following whenever I watched IndyCar and Formula One. Like I don't know if I just don't zone into it because I have a 4-year-old kid in my house, or like what it's most likely a me problem, not a product problem. But
yeah. And I think that like the podium sprint or like the GLTC top 10 shootout, I think that does better on the live stream than it does in person, especially if we don't have a way to understand.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So like the GLTC shootout, I didn't know what was happening at the time. Like, I didn't know the rules of the new knockout format. I wasn't in the driver's meeting, and I didn't hear the stream. So like, as it was on track, I was like, what's happening? It doesn't make any sense. So like, it being at the track without having the live stream to tell you what's happening was very difficult to be like, okay, it's hard to get excited for. But I think on the live stream, why it's like those situations are better, because then you can understand why the sense of urgency, or like, they're aiming for a very similar time. So like, like the problem with time attack is that you have like, you got a couple of cars that are capable of breaking the record, and then you have a bunch of cars that aren't. So like, what times they're aiming for. And even if you got the top 3, like, it's not like Formula One where they're all chasing, within a second of each other.
There's a 20-car field that's separated by thousands.
Right. So I think so it's hard to have that same level of excitement, because they're never going to be that close, even best case scenario. So, but the shootout and the podium sprint do a better job of building that excitement, I would say, for sure. Yeah. But again, it's better on the live stream than it is in person.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I'm jealous.
Yeah, for someone that wasn't really planning on doing a lot of Gridlife this year, I feel like I'm gonna do a lot of Gridlife this year. You're
like, man, I finally put down this heroin.
Yeah,
I've got a steady job. I got this halfway house I'm in. Everything's going smooth. Oh man, that heroin looks awesome.
Yep.
Have you guys heard about this heroin? This heroin's awesome.
Yep. I said that to Matt Beck when I bumped into him. That obviously because he was there, and he's like, he had his buddy that drove up and driven. I was like, man, if you wanted to be more humane, you could have literally just given him heroin. Like, you didn't have to drive him all the way up from Texas and be like, check out this Gridlife. Just put a real needle in his arm, man. It'd be way more humane. But it's not like they had a really good time.
Yeah, I was following along with his stuff, and just like, yep.
He does a lot better, just like you, do a lot better job with social media than I do. I was there the whole weekend, and I was just like, halfway through Saturday, I was like, fuck, I haven't taken any pictures. I need to take pictures of something so we can talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah, I need to do a better job about posting about our episodes. So
yeah, see, I've been terrible at that for a long time.
Yeah,
it's fine. We're not influencers.
We're we're sometimes under the influence, but we're not influencers. That's
yep, definitely that. I will say I'm always surprised at how many people do listen, or like, oh yeah, you were talking about the show. I was like, you listen to the show?
I'm like, oh God, you listen?
Yeah, that was it basically. Because when I bought the GLTC ticket off it, he's like, so do I give this to Robbie, Robert, or Robert? And I was like, I didn't get it. Like, it didn't occur to me that he listens to the show. It was just like, it was over my head. I was like, wait, is there 3 profiles on Torque Hub? Like, it just, he's like, no, dude, you were talking about that on the podcast. Oh, yeah. I'm stupid.
Yeah, I get my form of that is just getting random Instagram messages, and I'll say something of like the background of something. They're like, oh, yeah, I know. I've heard you talk about it on the show. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm always flattered. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, trust me. Flattered, confused, so it's all.
Yep. I'll take it. But yeah, I think that's a Midwest Fest. I'd say, from my understanding, went about as smooth as any Midwest Fest that I've seen. I think Jabe would agree. I think it ran as well as any of them. I think that a lot of the stuff they're going for, with the format and the way it's set up, I think that's gone really well. I do not like the long walk to the stage, but at the same time, I do think it's the right position. So,
yep. I guess I'm just gonna have to make it like an every 3 or 4 year thing, because seeing the pictures of people eating glizzies and slamming slushies and yep,
it was fun. Yep, I do. Yeah, so that one's still pretty low on my need to drive list, but it's still pretty high on my I want to attend list. It's been that way all week for me, because I got Booney texting me pictures from Le Mans every fucking day. So it's just like, this is so nice and so rude. So rude. Just like,
I was listening to the It's Not the Car with Jeff Brown talking about, because the AWA got an entry.
Yep.
And talking about the first time they went back in the 90s with Team Scandia, and said they shipped their whole Kenworth hauler over there on a boat.
Wild. It's probably the easiest way to do it.
So rolled out of the port, because they had no idea that you couldn't just drive a Kenworth, a full size American semi, down the highway in France. Immediately got pulled over.
I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know I couldn't do that.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they were racing the Ferrari 333, and said that they got to the track and unloaded for testing, and they were thinking oh, these people are all gathered around, oh, they're excited to see the Ferrari, because these are real race fans. And no, they were excited. They were taking pictures with the Kenworth hauler.
Yep. Yes, the excitement of the French fans of the Cadillacs, or I wasn't there for the project. Not 56.
Yeah, Garage 56.
Garage 56. Thank you. I wasn't there for that, but I saw a bunch of videos, and Booty was there, and he's like, yeah, man, that was, no one gave a shit about anything else. It was that car.
I feel like Ford's running that Mustang series over there as a support race this year, and I feel like that's probably going to have a similar kind of thing to it. It was just a whole field of
loud American cars.
Dumb American V8 cars.
Yep. Very popular over there. Yep. Yeah. No, I remember walking away going, yeah, I could, this definitely not a once in a lifetime thing, but it doesn't have to be a yearly thing. And then Booney's there right now. I'm just like, maybe
he's trying to scumbag you into an annual trip.
Maybe yearly isn't so bad after all. That sounds amazing. So, and I don't think it would take much to convince Jess to have that be a thing. Just let's go to Le Mans for a couple days over that, over the race, and then we can go anywhere in Europe you want. And I feel like she'd be all about it.
Yeah. Jen wants to do Italy for her 40th birthday, and she has her whole Italy coast thing, and I'm yeah, but Maranello's right here, and then the Monza's over here. Well, what if we?
Yep.
I just want to see the banking at Monza. I
would love to. Yep. Yeah, so just do it. Do it in June, and then you can have like a few days in France, and then you can go a week out wherever you want.
Go into the Alps.
Yep. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, definitely need to go back like right now. All my problems could be solved if I had more money. I could just do all this stuff. I don't wouldn't have to pick and choose.
They say it doesn't buy happiness, but
that's what poor people say.
Yeah. This is true.
Jeff Bezos seems pretty fucking happy. All right. I don't know what time it is. I'm tired.
Yep. I think we did a show.
We did a show. We recapped Midwest Fest. We'll all be there next year as a group again. It's going to be sweet.
Yep. It's going to be like 2023 all over again.
Exactly. We're going to relive the magic that was that, minus the tuning issues.
Dalton's going to weld up the tongue on his trailer and just load it full of cars. And
yep. He'll be there. But yeah, I will. I'll catch a lot of people at Mid-Ohio. Hopefully I have a show before then, but if not, catch everybody next week. Woo-hoo.